Welcome to Georgia Life Sciences Podcast, bringing you the latest insights and innovations from Georgia's life sciences industry. I'm your host, Maria Thacker Goethe, President and CEO of Georgia Life Sciences, formerly known as Georgia Bio, and I'm excited to take you behind the scenes with industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers shaping the future of biotech and medtech across the Peach State. Please note that our organization has recently rebranded from Georgia Bio to Georgia Life Sciences. While earlier episodes may reference Georgia Bio, we are now operating under our new name, Georgia Life Sciences, reflecting our broader commitment to the life sciences community. Thank you for your understanding as we transition to this exciting new chapter. Welcome back to BioBeat, Georgia's Life Sciences podcast. We're coming to you again from the Georgia Life Sciences Summit, and I'm really excited to welcome our next guest, Avi Robbins, who sits on our board and is part of our executive committee. Thank you for joining me here today, Avi.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Well, it's really exciting to be here with the community and bring everyone together at the summit, but we really want to use this opportunity to learn about some of the companies in our ecosystem, and I just learned chatting with you here so many fun facts about Porex. I had no idea it was a Georgia-grown company, but before we dive into that, tell me a bit about yourself and how you ended up here in Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks. Been a great day so far, but I came to Atlanta actually for school. So I'm from Florida originally, but came to Georgia Tech as maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have that are here. And I've met my wife and stuck around because her whole family is from Georgia. But I've been in Atlanta for over 20 years and really find that it's a great place to not just raise a family, but to run a business and to be part of a great innovation ecosystem.
No, that's great. And so tell me, how long have you been at Porex now?
Just about 14 years, which is kind of crazy to think about, but have had a lot of great experiences and a lot of growth through my tenure here.
No, that's awesome. And, you know, we love to bring people into the community and keep them in Georgia. That's what we always think about when we're talking about economic development and growing the community. So I'm glad you came and you stayed.
Yes, absolutely.
But so when we first met, you were housed down at the Coda building for a medical device piece of Porex. So can you tell me a little bit about Porex itself and its history and background, and then maybe how you ended up in this particular unit inside of Porex?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So Porex was founded over 60 years ago, actually by a Georgia Tech professor. Wow. If you think about children's coloring markers and you used to call them felt tip pens, perhaps, right? You would get mushy, right? Because through constant writing, the tip would get deformed. Mm-hmm. Well, many years ago, a porous plastic was created, and essentially we're creating a porous structure, but it's a three-dimensional piece of plastic. So it's much more wear resistant than something like felt, as in that example. And we can create scientifically the shape and also the pore structure to control, in this example, the rate of ink transfer onto your paper. And so Porex, was created for this application, but has evolved over the years into to be much more of a healthcare related, life science related company. So we do a lot in the consumer space. We do a lot in the industrial and electronics, but also quite a bit in the life sciences area, from surgical devices to supporting scientific laboratory instruments and diagnostic testing.
No, that's great. And it's really exciting. I mean, 6 years is a long time. And I can't believe, having been in this role for 18 years, I did not know it was spun out of Georgia Tech and been doing this for so long. But tell me a little bit about your particular unit, the Institute piece of it, and how that came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So for about the first 10 years of my career at Porex, I was leading our global R&D. We were developing new technologies and basically creating custom components for our customers to enable life-saving and also recreational type products. And coincidentally, just about at COVID, we were looking for ways to make more of an impact, right? So we were looking to see how could we take our R&D investment and not just make a component for someone else, but to create technologies that we believed in that could make a bigger difference. Our mission at Porex and at the Filtration Group, which is our parent company, is to make the world safer, healthier, and more productive. So being mission driven, we were looking for ways to do that. And we were helping a lot of companies take their R&D forward, but not really, we felt like we could do a lot more ourselves. We see a lot of the market by being a component manufacturer. And so we created the Porex Life Sciences Institute to take those technologies and bring them into more complete devices. And we started off looking at the diagnostic space, creating non-invasive sample collection devices. So specifically collecting saliva in a non-invasive way, but providing a test-ready solution so that it's easy to get a diagnostic reading in the point of care where you might not have all these laboratory processing equipment, or to make it easier for the lab to process the samples.
No, that's great. And, you came out of Coda. You're based now in Brookhaven?
Correct.
Brookhaven. That's right. Okay, awesome. And how big is the team for the filtration group, would it be? Or the Porex is under the filtration group?
Yeah, filtration group is our parent company.
Okay. Yeah,
and Porex is a business of the filtration group, which is, Porex has facilities across the world, eight different facilities, over 1,000 employees.
And you have a manufacturing site here in Georgia,
Yeah, we manufacture down in Fairburn, Georgia.
Yeah.
So if you don't know where Fairburn is, it's just north of Peachtree City.
Yep.
Just down by the airport.
Not too far.
Not at all. It helps when you're trying to get a flight out the same day to be near the airport.
Yes. So tell me a bit about your team and, how the size of your group inside of Porex.
Yeah. So the Porex Life Sciences Institute is a small business unit, basically an entrepreneurial startup within Porex. So we have about 14 team members, engineering, regulatory, scientists that are developing, some of the core technologies, as well as, the things you would need, marketing, finance, and all that. And co-ops, right? That help us, take advantage of the ecosystem around us to not just help our company move forward, but to help bring up the future leaders.
No, that's great. So I think every student would be very unhappy if I didn't ask this question. Do you do internships and things like that?
Yes, we have. We've had multiple interns throughout the course of our tenure.
Okay, awesome. So students should look at your website and the jobs or career page and things like that. But just on that note, though, what was your career path? Like, what did you study in school? What did you get your degree in?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering from Georgia Tech, and then got an MBA later in life from Emory University.
That's great.
So local made, if you will.
Yes.
And I found I worked for a medical device company right out of school that I happened to co-op at Georgia Tech, and then came to Porex right from there. I actually did a stint in sales. It's, as you can maybe gather from the description of Porex, it's a very technical product, and we're essentially selling a solution to the customer. So I did sales for a bit, and then moved into R&D and led R&D for Porex globally for about 10 years.
Yeah, that had to be strategically exciting, though, and they allow you to travel some too.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience to see the world. We have facilities in Malaysia, China, all across Europe and the US. And I think working with people across the world has been a fantastic part of my experience here.
That's awesome. Sure. That's really exciting. So one last thing I wanted to ask you about, and this is also because I know about it, but tell me a bit about public-private partnerships and how Porex wants to lean into the community here in Georgia, or universities here or elsewhere, and how how you see that as valuable.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of how and why we started the Life Science Institute, and why we call it that, right? Why isn't it called Porex Medical or something else? We really wanted to attract people that want to do good, right? And so I think the Institute name has a little bit more of that welcoming. It's not just, it is a commercial initiative, but we are trying to work with Georgia Tech and their research facilities, and Emory's research facilities, and really anyone that wants to collaborate to make an impact, like I said before. And whether that's borrowing on research that's being done at the universities, or leveraging the facilities to advance research that we're doing, really find a way to help out.
No, that's exciting. And, I think public-private partnerships are very much the future, as we can, a lot of companies are leaning into that more, and there's a lot more federal dollars to encourage that. So we'll continue to see more of those. And I think Porex, based on your history and being so mission-driven, it sounds like y'all are going to be really pushing that in our community. So that's exciting to hear. So, Avi, just one last, more business-leaning question.
Sure.
As you and your team and your parent company look ahead strategically, where do you see Porex going potentially? What are some of your priorities, especially in an evolving economy like we see during a big election year as well? I mean, there's just a lot of changing things that impact private equity-backed companies and others. So,
yeah, I would say we're really focused on our customers, right? Looking at where they're trying to grow and how we can be a good partner for them. How can we add services and capabilities and technology that will allow us to provide more solutions there, provide and create deeper relationships. Ultimately, that's the winning formula for us, and will allow us to continue to grow.
Yeah, that's great. So just last thing, tell me something about you, something that, excites you or, brings you joy. This, our last, one of our past visitors talked about her volunteer experience, but share a little something, if anything. And you can say your family.
Yeah, no,
So,
I'm trying to think what's the best way to bring it all together?
What do you do when you're not working so hard?
If I talk to a lot of my friends from school, they'd be surprised that I really enjoy getting out there and hiking. And last year I hiked the equivalent of Mount Everest.
Oh, wow.
It's through an initiative called 29029 Everesting, where you hike a ski mountain a certain number of times to reach 29,029 feet of elevation in the time span of 36 hours. So it's not a race, it's an endurance event. And we did that to raise money for the Kyle Pease Foundation, which helps athletes that are physically disabled compete in races that they wouldn't able to normally compete in. So
Kyle and his brother, right?
Yes.
We were in the same 40 under 40 class.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I met him a couple of times.
Okay.
But great organization. So that is an amazing fun fact. So thank you for sharing. So I'm liking this question. I'm gonna have to ask all my guests that. But this is great. But thank you so much for sharing about Porex. Any last things that you forgot to say or you just wanted to share, or you think you got it covered? Or where can we go to learn more about Porex? Where can people go?
Yeah, you can just visit our website, porex.com, or the porexlifesciences.com, either one. There's a contact us information, but you can find me on LinkedIn if you're looking for me, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone about anything that I can help.
Thanks again for joining us for another exciting BioBeat podcast. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Georgia Life Sciences podcast series. If you enjoyed the conversation, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more listeners like you. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more insights into Georgia's thriving life sciences community, be sure to visit us at galifesciences.org. And thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.